Hello guys, you're welcome one more time to my YouTube channel. My name is Lapis. Let's go. Okay, so we're talking about Ghana. Yeah, I know some of you in here Ghana, then you bored. It's understandable, trust me, because things are hard. Now I told you we're going to handle things that we need to do as a country in order to advance, in order to progress deliberately. It has to be deliberate. I'm telling you that growth is never accidental. And you need to understand that we were not created to live by miracles. We're actually created to live by principles. Reverend Funke said this some time back, and it's actually stayed with me for a very long time now. If we are going to grow, then we need to really grasp the process that influences national development. And for me, one of the basic things I'm going to talk about is our choice of leaders. Yes. Now, let me be very honest with you guys. The kind of leaders we actually choose is a reflection of who we are. Let me repeat that again. The kind of leaders we choose is proof and reflection of who we are. Most of the times, one of the things we do is that we are blindly associated with political parties that we don't really understand their proper orientation. We don't even understand that whether their ideologies agrees with national development or political development. You see, these are two different things. Some people exist to advance their political affiliation. Some people exist to advance their national agenda. These are two different things altogether. And these are the discussions we need to have. If you read the good book, in the book of Proverbs chapter 29, verse number 2, it says, this is what it says. It says that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people suffer. Now, that means the state of the people, whether good or bad, depends on the choice of leaders in the system. We are living in a time where we select leaders. Gone are the days where leadership was monarchical. That means that it was royal families that ran leadership, kings, queens, and rulers. We are in a democratic era, so these are two different dispensations altogether. And in this time, it is the duty of citizens to vote for people they believe, they listen to, they are convicted, and they are convinced by the persona of that leader, that okay, this person can actually bring us to a place of stability. The reason why people vote every 4 years, and let me explain this. The reason why people vote every 4 years is simply because they believe that it takes government to change things. There is a subtle belief that it takes government to change things, and that is why it doesn't matter. 4 years ago, 8 years ago, you were angry and you told yourself, I'm not going to vote again. But you voted last year. So vote here. You voted last year. That's exactly what you did. Even though you said about 4 years ago that you ain't going to vote again, 8 years ago you are not going to vote again, but last year you voted. The reason why you do that is because there's a subtle mentality that informs you all the time that it takes government to solve national issues. You see, but our choice of leadership is actually a reflection of who we are. Most people select people into leadership positions, and we don't even ask, what is the proper orientation of this person I am selecting into leadership position? Let's get this clear. Before we go into leadership position, I want you to understand something, that as a leader, you can choose to lead from two realms. You can choose to lead out of your life, and you can choose to lead out of your leadership position. They are not the same. Most leaders are waiting for leadership positions in order to feel that they are leaders. So if you normally look at organizations, especially religious fraternities, you would realize that a person sitting in the pew does not consider him or herself to be a leader until that person has been offered a leadership position. So you call the person, or the person, you ask the person that, since when did you become a leader? And they go like, okay, I became a leader since October 3rd or October 2nd, 2000 or whatever. Now, what they're trying to say is that their leadership began out of their leadership position. That means before their appointment as leaders, they do not see themselves as leaders in the first place. And most often, that is one of the big mistakes we do. We appoint people and they begin to lead out of their leadership positions and not out of their life. The question we need to ask ourselves is, before you're going to appoint someone or elect someone into a leadership position, find out, are they already leaders? That's the first thing I want you to find out. Now, when I talk about leaders, anytime you talk about this, people normally think that, okay, you're talking about somebody who has a large following. That's not true. That can be somebody who influences. We are in a generation where foolish people can influence. Let me make that clear. Like, fools can really influence because they can do anything they want to do. They can, post crazy things on their snaps, on their Instagram, on their WhatsApp status, and you will definitely have the kind of market or the kind of person you are, okay, and you're going to follow you. That's the kind of leaders or the generation we are in now. So there are many people who are influencers, but they are not leaders in themselves. So when we talk about, is a person a leader, I don't want you to think about, okay, is he influencing people? Yes, he can influence people in a very bad way, but that does not define him as a leader. And that is why I want to caution each and every one of us that we need to stop being naive. We have an attitude of voting for people where we do not cross-check them and find out as to whether they are actually doing what we ask them to do. We have an attitude of voting for people where we do not cross-check their sexual orientation or their personal orientation. So we get people who go into leadership and then you realize that whatever they stand for contradicts what you voted for them, because we don't check them, because we are not deliberate in supervising to make sure that, okay, this person I'm voting for, can I lay down my life that, okay, I trust this person to do what I expect the person to do. Let me say this, and maybe that's how I'm going to end. Anytime you vote, listen to me carefully. Anytime you vote, you are taking a decision for people between 1 year to 17 years old. Keep that at the back of your mind. You are eligible to vote in this country when you are 18. That means there's a generation of people between 1 and 17 that cannot vote. The question is, the decision you were taken in voting, is it a decision that is going to benefit that age group? That's the first question I want you to think about. When you are voting, you don't know that it's not just about electing somebody. You are determining the future of people. You are determining the happiness of people, the sadness of people. When you decide to elect a leader, you are doing something so dangerous. And you cannot keep electing leaders that you don't even know them. You've heard about them, but you don't know them. For instance, you've heard about the president of Ghana, but you don't know him. You see, but we keep electing people into leadership position, and I'm not talking about just the country. I'm talking about into various other places like companies, religious fraternities, and all that. It happens. We keep voting for people that we don't even know, and I want to put this challenge out to you. The next time you're going to elect a leader, whether in your nation, whether in your religious fraternity, whether in your company or whatever, I want you to sit down and ask yourself these questions. Find out, what do you know about the person? Number 2, what does the person stand for? Number 3, what is their conviction? Number 4, what is their passion? Number 5, can they live and die for their conviction? Because some leaders can turn the table when they are under pressure. Can they change? Will they change when they're under pressure? Can they stand and live for what they confess? These are the things we need to look at. If we are not deliberate as to how we select our leaders, I promise you, we will keep voting in people who are famous but do not have the leadership traits to help this country. Okay, so once again, we ended, and I'm so glad you joined me this time around. I want you to like, share, subscribe, and then please press the notification button so that anytime I upload a video, you get it. I'll see you. Bye.